I gave him the drip, let him go now. And this is the things that I get, nigga. You tell me
I haven't
who
filmed a
wrong.
video in a minute. Back with another video. Back. Do y'all miss me? Do y'all miss me? Mwah, 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 mwah. I miss you too. But pause. But look, I'm back with another video. Sorry I've been gone for so long. I haven't filmed a video in like 2 years. Oh my God. Literally neglected this channel. But I'm back now, and I've been gone because of where I'm at right now. My career. I've been truck driving. If you don't know, now you know. I've been on the road for 2 years, and it was really hard for me to balance my career and filming videos. But now I feel like I got a good grasp on my truck driving, and I feel like I can really start to incorporate my YouTube, not just with truck driving, but with all the stuff that I used to do in the past. Now look, with this channel, right, I think what I want to do is, I don't want to only be a reaction channel. I want to do reactions, but I want to be more than a reaction channel. I want people to come to me with videos and have me react to the videos. I want people to think, I wonder what Jobba thinks about this video, or I wonder what Jobba thinks about this topic. I wonder what Jobba thinks about this music video, etc., etc. I want people to really value my opinions, not just watch me just because I'm some random reaction channel, right? So that's what we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna be reacting to a whole lot of different things. But one thing I'm gonna be adding is politics. Now I know y'all like, oh my God, politics, bro. Don't start jumping into politics. But that's something I'm really interested in, so I'm gonna be reacting to it. And it's a lot of crazy stuff going on in this world, specifically the Iranian war. And that's what this video is going to be about. A lot of things going on with that whole specific situation. Recently, there was a guy that was flying over Iranian airspace, and he got shot down. And I was just really interested in that story to see how he was able to not only survive, but get home safely. I don't know if Trump is crazy enough to actually bomb their whole shit, but we're gonna see. But for right now, let's just see what went down when these guys went in and retrieved our fallen soldier from Iranian territory. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let's jump right into it.
How did the U.S. pull off one of the most daring rescue operations in history, deep behind enemy lines? It comes down to a strict code the U.S. military lives by: leave no man behind. They will literally send dozens of attack helicopters and over 100 special forces and Delta operators just to bring one person home.
That's crazy. Now, imagine what that guy was thinking in his head. Like, yo, he's probably thinking I'm gonna die right now. And you got 100 people like, nah, we not leave you behind. We're gonna get you dead or alive. Like, that's crazy. And one thing people don't know about me is I'm a patriot. Like, I'm a patriot. Oh, say, can you see? Like, I love this country. So that's just great to hear that our servicemen and women are fighting not only to the strongest ability that they can, but they're also fighting each other with each other's backs. If you know what I mean.
Started when an aircraft went down. After both crew members ejected, the pilot was successfully extracted, but the weapons systems officer was injured and stranded. His survival training instantly kicked in. He trekked all the way up to a rugged mountainous ridge and activated his beacon, just as IRGC militias began closing in on the crash site. The CIA was one step ahead. They initiated a massive deception tactic.
Stupid.
It was designed to make the IRGC search entirely the wrong location. When the enemy forces finally realized they had been tricked, all hell broke loose. They swarmed the mountainous ridge surrounding the injured officer. Just in time, special forces swooped in on low-bird helicopters, raining down heavy covering fire alongside A-10 Thunderbolts and MQ-9 Reaper drones. But as they moved toward the extraction point, everything went wrong, proving the military is willing to burn a $100 million aircraft just to save a single fallen comrade.
Let's go.
This is stage one. When the jet went down, both crew members ejected. The pilot was recovered within hours, but the weapons systems officer wasn't so lucky.
I tried a ton.
I gotta hear what I add, but it's crazy how they would just, like, the military is just known for just throwing away money. Like, why do we throw so much money away at the military. Like, I think Joe Biden, he had like he threw away like billions of dollars to the Taliban in Iraq. Just threw it away. Billions of money, just weapons, all of that. Just threw it away for what?
Wounded from the ejection, he landed in an incredibly rugged mountainous region. Look at the map here. This is the crash site. And this is exactly where his survival training kicked in. His immediate objective? Get to higher ground. Despite his injuries, he hiked over 2 miles and scaled a 7,000-foot ridge line.
What?
While dodging capture, he managed to trigger his emergency beacon, pinging U.S. forces so they could begin tracking his location. But he couldn't just stay on the radio. His communication had to be sporadic if he transmitted too often. The IRGC's signals intelligence teams, who were actively hunting his frequency, would pinpoint his exact coordinates.
What the fuck?
Then comes stage 2, the CIA's deception game. To buy the downed officer time, the CIA launched a massive disinformation campaign inside Iran. They started leaking rumors that U.S. forces had already found the WSO and were attempting to smuggle him out on the ground.
You know, Iran was on X seeing mad AI videos of, yeah, we good, we got him, we out of here. Whole time he's still right there. Crazy.
Worked perfectly. His phantom ground exfiltration successfully diverted Iranian military resources and attention completely away from the actual extraction site.
Stupid.
That brings us to stage 3, the tip of the spear. It's 2:00 a.m. The skies over southern Isfahan and Kogaluyu are usually dead silent. But tonight, the U.S. military...
That soldier got that fat butt.
Southern Isfahan and Kogaluyu
Pause.
are usually dead silent. But
This shit,
tonight,
I'm
the
wildin'?
US
Yeah, I'm
military's
wildin'.
most elite operators, Delta Force and Navy SEAL Team 6, are launching a massive heliborne assault. They arrive in MH-6 Little Bird helicopters, absolutely armed to the teeth with miniguns and missiles, built for agility and tight mountain corners. Supporting them are the MH-60 Black Hawks or Paid Hawks, designed to drop in special forces and pull them out. And they weren't alone. Miles above the pitch-black mountains, dozens of U.S. military aircraft, including HC-130J Combat Kings and EA-18 Growlers, cast an invisible net over the region. They unleash a storm of electronic warfare designed to completely blind Iranian early warning radars, all while an MQ-9 Reaper drone kept an unblinking eye on the wounded WSO.
What? Like, bro, look at all of this tech. Like, it just makes you, like, really appreciate... It makes me really appreciate... I don't know about all you other guys, but it makes me really appreciate that I live in the greatest country, the strongest country with the best military. We look at all this crazy stuff that we have, like, and like, imagine if our enemies, that people that hate America, people that say death to America, death to America, like, if they had this shit, they would just be violating us every day. Like, we would just be getting killed. So it's just crazy to me just watching all of the crazy stuff that we have, and it makes me really proud to be a part of this country.
Stage 4, and this is the crazy part. The U.S. literally set up a temporary forward operating base inside Iran. They seize an abandoned agricultural airstrip, just 200 feet wide and 3,900 feet long.
Mind you, this is in enemy territory, by the way.
Located about 14 miles north of Shareza City in the southern Isfahan province. They turned an empty Iranian field into a U.S. staging ground.
What?
Here comes stage 5. Despite the odds, U.S. Special Forces...
That's against international law!
...successfully in helicopters navigated the jagged landscape below radar level and reached their objective, establishing a defensive perimeter around the wounded WSO. Time's up. Just as they prepared to grab him and get out, the horizon started moving. IRGC ground forces, popular mobilization units, and local militias were rapidly converging on their exact location. What happened next was an absolute slugfest. A massive hours-long firefight erupted right in the middle of the day.
What?
Look at this ridge. They were surrounded, taking fire from all sides. U.S. operators laid down a withering wall of suppressive fire. The commandos locked down a 360-degree defensive perimeter. Guns up, air cover overhead, designed to annihilate any IRGC element that stepped within
Yo,
range.
what?
But it was the loitering U.S. aircraft overhead that truly tipped the scales. To keep the extraction corridor from collapsing, American air power continuously hammered the advancing Iranian units. Assets like the A-10 Thunderbolt rained hellfire down on them. The sheer volume of close air support from the A-10s, Little Birds, and Black Hawks pounded the surrounding areas.
Yo, like this is wavy. See all this tech?
A-10s, Little Birds, and Black Hawks
Oh my
pounded
God.
the surrounding Iranian positions, taking a heavy toll.
Like, get off of us!
Casualties across areas like Kuisia and Kaken. That air support bought the ground teams the one thing they needed most: seconds.
My God.
Right now might be one of the best times to learn how to trade, because when the market pulls back,
Like,
smart
oh
traders,
my
that's what
God, that's so fire.
Under the umbrella of that intense air cover, the Special Forces helicopters finally managed to load the wounded WSO onto an
Yo, why the fuck he limping like that?
The Special Forces
Animation
helicopters
going
finally
crazy.
managed to load the wounded WSO onto an extraction bird. Just when it seemed like they were in the clear, things went terribly wrong back at the makeshift landing strip near Shareza City.
Uh-oh.
According to the Pentagon, 2 of the transport aircraft slated for the evacuation suffered critical issues and couldn't take off. Suddenly, it was a race against time. The IRGC was speeding toward the airstrip in a massive convoy. Commanders decided to send 3 more aircraft to rescue all U.S. military personnel and the pilot. Then, in a scorched earth move, U.S. forces blew up the 2 disabled transport planes, leaving nothing but charred remains for the IRGC.
What?
The wreckage of a USM A-6 Little Bird helicopter was also spotted next to the remains of HC-130J Combat King 2 rescue aircraft that were destroyed by U.S. airstrikes to prevent secret military data from falling into IRGC hands. But how did all of this actually started? The Zagros Mountains, Kermanshah province, near the Iran-Iraq border. This terrain is characterized by jagged peaks and deep, narrow valleys. It is a tactical nightmare for aviators, but provides excellent terrain masking to hide from long-range radar. However, it also allows enemy forces to set up devastating short-range anti-aircraft ambushes. But how did the U.S. lose an F-15 E-Strike Eagle, an A-10 Warthog, and nearly a combat search and rescue team helicopter, and a Reaper drone in a single night? Well, this is how it started at 2:15 hours. A flight of 2 F-15 E-Strike Eagles crosses the border at low altitude. A pilot and a weapons system officer were flying their target a deeply buried command bunker. They used terrain following radar to hide in the valleys, staying beneath the gaze of Iran long-range Baver 373 missile network. But what happens when they have to strike? To drop its GBU-28 bunker buster, the lead Strike Eagle has to pull up and move above the mountains. This is breaking the radar horizon. In a gorge below, highly mobile, Tor M1's surface-to-air missile system is waiting. It achieves a lock, and 2 missiles leave the rails. The pilot dumps flares and pulls high GS. 1 missile is spoofed. But could they evade the second? Well, the second missile detonates on proximity, causing catastrophic hydraulic failure.
Damn!
The crew ejects into the pitch-black mountains, and the Sandy Protocol is immediately activated. But this is the U.S. military, and they will move heaven on earth to rescue a fallen combat. At 2:45 hours in the morning, because the crash is near the border, A-10 Thunderbolt II operating nearby are diverted for resort, also called rescue escort. Down below, Iranian quick reaction forces are closing in on the downed airmen. The lead A-10 executes a low-level strafing run with its legendary 30mm Avenger cannon, neutralizing the convoy. But how did this aggressive maneuver come at a cost? The noise and tracers give away its position. As the A-10 banks hard, bleeding off airspeed. For context, Iran recently flooded the battlefield with these Chinese shoulder-fired missiles, weapons that are essentially reverse-engineered clones of Russian Manpad. The Iranian soldier fires a Mossad-2 infrared guided missile. At this altitude, countermeasures deploy to...
They have shoulder-guided missile? Like, the missile could... Like, who the fuck is guiding the missile? Is it like a scouter off the shoulder? That's tough.
There's a Mossad-2 infrared guided missile. At this altitude, countermeasures deploy too late. The missile shreds the right turbofan engine. But can the Warthog's legendary armor save it? Yes, the armor did save it from this missile launcher as it flew even with a damaged engine. Because of the armor...
And I know I'm screaming like it's all cool and fun and nice, but this is actual war. And it's so interesting because it's war and people are dying, but I think that it's crazy because like no other person or not a lot of people would be willing to do the kind of things that not only the fighters are doing, not only the president is doing right now. Like nobody would be willing to do this type of shit because of how crazy this actually is. And when you think about it, it's really crazy.
The pilot managed to point the dying jet toward a plateau and punches out. But just how many crash sites are we looking at? The F-15E crashed deep inside southwestern Iran. Specifically, local reports and verified wreckage photos place the crash site in the rugged mountainous terrain of the Khojaly and Boyer Almat province, while the A-10 Warthog did not go down over the Iranian mainland. After taking heavy damage during the search and rescue escort mission, the pilot managed to navigate the crippled jet away from the mountains and towards safer airspace. The rugged battle-damaged A-10 eventually crashed in the southern waters of the Persian Gulf, specifically near the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this at 3:15 hours. A dedicated combat search and rescue package launches. These are highly trained rescue units built for this type of rescue mission. It includes an HC-130J Combat King. This acts as an airborne command center, followed by two HC-60D helicopters, call signs Pedro 11 and Pedro 12. They fly under the radar, topping off their fuel in midair to maximize loiter time. But will they make it into hostile territory undetected? Well, they push deep into the Zagros Mountains just as dawn approaches. 4:45 hours. Pedro 11 locates the A-10 pilot's infrared strobe. Pedro 12 circles above, providing overwatch with its 50 caliber machine guns. Pedro 11 flares for landing, and the Ps hit the dirt to secure the pilot. Then this happened to hidden Iranian Su-23. A Soviet-era anti-aircraft gun opens fire from the concealed hideout. It's an ambush. Heavy armor-piercing rounds tear through Pedro 12 as it orbits, resulting in severed transmission lines and an injured crew. The pilot wrestles the crippled chopper into a hard-controlled crash near Pedro 11.
Damn.
The rescue mission is now a fight for survival, and Pedro 11 is the only way home. Under heavy covering fire, the crew of the downed chopper sprints to the surviving bird. But how do they stop the enemy barrage? Then at 5:02 hours, the C-130 overhead coordinates an immediate strike. Two F-35 stealth fighter jet loitering high above stealth overwatch drop precision munitions, silencing the anti-aircraft gun.
Boom! Whole lot!
With the A-10 pilot, the PJ, and the crash chopper's crew crammed inside, Pedro 11 is maxed out on weight. But how do you fly an overloaded helicopter escape the Zagros Mountain? This is how they do it. Pulling maximum power, the engines screaming, they barely clear the tree line and dive back into the valleys, racing for the border. By 5:30 in the morning, Pedro 11 crossed back into Iraqi airspace. Battered, overloaded, but alive. As stated, no one gets left behind. The F-15E crew is still missing in action, requiring a massive JSOC raid the following night. And if you don't want your data to get compromised by spam mails, junk, you can get a link, click status with annual radar guided and heat seeking. The F-35 was designed to be practically invisible to long-range radar, but it wasn't built to completely hide from heat-seeking missiles. So how exactly did Iran missile manage to bypass the stealth technology of the US F-35? Well, the secret lies in a major vulnerability that is its heat signature. Its geometry and radar-absorbent materials make its radar cross-section incredibly small, essentially rendering it invisible to traditional early warning and targeting radars. To give you some context, this is how a plane's radar signature compares to a bird's. But the F-35 is powered by a single Pratt & Whitney F-135 engine, one of the most powerful fighter engines in the world. The F-35 is heavily optimized to defeat radio frequency radar like...
Hey, shout out to AI Telly, because I don't know how he gets all this information, but it's always crazy when I watch his videos because he has like a mountain full of information, and the way he animates it is just crazy.
$1 billion S-400 and S-300 missiles. However, stealth does not mean completely invisible. This engine produces a massive heat plume. Instead of using radar, modern air defense networks utilize infrared search and track systems. The answer is this short-range heat-seeking missile like this one. These passive sensors scan the skies for any heat anomalies. Because infrared search and track systems emit no energy themselves, the F-35's radar warning receivers would not alert the pilot that they were being painted by a target lock in the same way a radar lock would.
Holy Holy shit. So he got hit and he didn't know he was about to get hit. Just, yeah, bro, get off my screen.
Missile lock and how did the F-35 used evasive maneuvers? Once an infrared-guided missile is launched, the dynamic of the engagement changes to a race of physics and countermeasures. When the missile's IR seeker head locks onto the massive thermal output of the F-35's engine exhaust. With the detection, the F-35 is equipped with a distributed aperture system, 6 infrared cameras positioned around the aircraft that provide a 360-degree spherical view. The distributed aperture system detects the intense heat signature of the incoming missile's rocket motor and instantly alerts the pilot. To break the lock, the pilot executes high-G evasive maneuvers while simultaneously deploying flares. If the missile tracks the flares but is already within a lethal radius, its proximity fuse will trigger the warhead. The resulting shrapnel and shockwave can cause significant damage to the aircraft's control surfaces, stealth coating, or internal systems without scoring a catastrophic direct hit, which perfectly aligns with reports of the F-35 sustaining damage but safely executing an emergency landing. But what are flares? These pyrotechnic countermeasures are made of magnesium or other combustible metals that burn at temperatures exceeding the aircraft's engine heat.
He should have dropped the flares before it came so close to the engine.
Flares is to overwhelm or confuse the missile's IR seeker, forcing it to chase the decoy heat sources instead of the jet. But what is Iran's secret weapon? We believe it's the 358 anti-aircraft missile, or the SA-67. The 358 is a unique hybrid between a loitering munition or kamikaze drone and a surface-to-air missile. But how does it work? It flies at slower subsonic speeds and can loiter in a designated airspace in a figure-8 pattern until its optical and infrared sensors detect a target. If a 385 missile or a more advanced...
They got missiles that's just flying around like a drone?
Advanced high-speed indigenous IR-guided surface-to-air missile was guided by a ground-based IRST network. It could engage the F-35 entirely within the infrared spectrum, bypassing the jet's radar-evading capabilities entirely. This incident challenges the long-held doctrine that fifth-generation fighters can operate with total impunity in contested airspace, highlighting the evolving threat of infrared detection. But it has its advantages as it cannot hit fighter jets far from its radius of launch system. We make original videos from scratch and animated by humans, so please subscribe to not miss a beat.
Nah, that is crazy, bro. Shout out to that pilot. Thank God he got home safely. I can only imagine what was going through his mind when he was in those mountains and he was getting hunted. What time is it right now? It is, I can't tell what time it is, but it's about to be 8 p.m. and we're gonna see what Trump does with this war, how he intends to escalate. But I'm one of those guys. I'm honestly excited to see what he does. I'm not excited for war. I don't like war, but I understand the president's rationale for beginning this excursion, like how he likes to call it, aka war. And I'm optimistic, and I'm hoping for a U.S. victory. So that's all I can really say on it. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm back and I'm out.